Good afternoon, Abbotsford residents. I'm Mr. Pelican. I'm running for Mayor of Abbotsford. And the first thing I'm going to do is bring the RCMP into Abbotsford. And we're going to forensic audit what took place in Abbotsford in the City Hall. On Ron Funkadverse, the 30-story tower of Quantum Project, Marcus Dalvis ran Abbotsford first. He ran the city councils and the mayor. And in return, they fast-tracked the 30-story tower, and they knew they should have excused themselves from the city. Ross Siemens owns Ross. He owns Marcus. He figures before I get out of this mess, I'm going to pay back what he owes. We're going to go after that. That's why I need the RCMP, and that needs to be done. So, for the last month or so, you've seen me all over social media, and I reversed the words of JFK. I said, don't ask what you could do for your city, but what your mayor can do for you. And it's time that happened. With old seniors and young youth and everybody starting out can't make it, but you keep getting a tax increase. That tax increase wasn't because we need to fix roads or sewers or infrastructure. It was to load the city with lots of money so Henry Brown could steal that in special projects. I showed you the 30-story tower of Marcus Dalvis, whose Quantum Projects that ran Ross Siemens and ran Abbotsford First. That Abbotsford First is Patricia Dreesen, Kelly Shahal, Mark Warkentine, who's a lawyer. And he knew that he owes Marcus Dalvis for running him in the election for his campaign. And they should have never voted for that. It's insider trading. And Mark Warkentine knows that. And you can see by Facebook, you can see Dave Lowens, you can see everybody, they've gone cold, not sending anything out. Till Big Henry phones him, this is Henry, I'm telling you, Dave Lowens, get behind Ross, show your strength. He'll keep using them. And he'll tell Ross, you just keep signing them signatures, whatever Nancy Friesen puts in front of you. We saw what Ron Funkadverse is doing. I told you I'll go after that building and I'll go after it. So people have been phoning me and say, Ron's still working on it. Let him work. Let him keep building. I will take that building in the name of insider trading because he did not go back to the community. He changed his zoning. Rob Funk believes with Henry Brown, we can lobby to the province. There's a shortage of housing. Let me tell you, it was done in the name of Abbotsford's taxpayers. It was fraud off of your back. It blocked your decisions in your houses. I will take Ron Funk down like Ron Funk's never been down. That's a pre-cocked idea with Henry Brown, and I got the Abbotsford police. Look at the chief. Oh, look at the chief. So today I want to bring you a news story. The official community plan, Darren Brown showed me what Henry Brown stood to get millions of dollars. When I ran as mayor, he knew that I would upset that mayorship, and he needed to road laws to keep that community plan. When I learned that Henry Brown was trying to get all that infrastructure money off of Trudeau, gosh, in my opinion, I told you I believe that Henry was the one that went out and caused the water, the dike to flood, so he could get that money. He's so greedy. It sure looked like it. When Henry was no longer the mayor, he didn't put councils and MLAs and MPs and everybody together and lobby Trudeau. No, he went on stage and tried to bully him as a foreign mayor. He's the only mayor that retired that can't get out of the city. Look at him. Everywhere Ross is, he needs to take a picture. I got to promote Ross. I got to go show Ross. Here's a man that's supposed to be enjoying his retirement and all the stuff he embezzled. He needs to keep that official plan. Darren Brown showed me how many millions and billions of dollars he was lobbying to developers. And if that plan changed to go broke, they're going to go up Henry's driveway. Henry doesn't have the Abbotsford police to protect him no more. They're going to say, you ripped me off, Henry. The problem's there. But Henry Brown tried to end my life in broad daylight. That meant Henry Brown was after something, and that was only money. That which would make and compel a man to lose his shit and do that. Henry Brown loaded Ross, and you could see the scamming. You could see Vicky Hopes every day keeping old baby Ross up. Is Ross doing good? Oh, look at Ross. Abbotsford City Councils are appointed by you and elected to keep the city office. You got a city manager and you got a city lawyer. Under the private police, you see the corruption that Henry owned the private police, so there was no investigations in insider trading, racketeering, and scams, or fraud to steal taxpayers' dollars to make yourself rich. This private garbage trash company that ran around and picked up prostitutes, raced your Dodge Chargers, dumped under your community vehicles, lied that Henry had break-ins at his house, threatened people. We're a bunch of losing trash garbage, worthless mans that believe in uniform. Look at me. There were a bunch of bullies, unmarked cars running around Abbotsford, brand new GMC pickups on your tax dollars. And look at them, we're gangs, every day about their gangs. 71 million, Darren Brown showed me, was being stolen. So I want to take you a little history run here. I'm telling you from experience, that 71 million, there were so many kickbacks out the left door of the Abbotsford police, it's unbelievable of how much money was being stolen out of there on cost overruns. When Henry's son said it was 5 million, the wreck no fit the building, Henry knew to push on that Abbotsford police using it as sympathy. You can't say no to the police for that 71 million in cost overruns. Then they warded the company more in here. So what am I doing here in Rona's parking lot? I want to talk about Vicky Hopes. Big newspaper, Vicky Hopes and Ken, how Henry said, you write one story about me to Tyler Olson, I'll put you on your belly. Means I'll bankrupt you. You won't have a job no more. I'll run you out of business. I'll get a new newspaper. That newspaper's been feeding off the city left, right, and center, and it hasn't done nothing for the Abbotsford resident. And Vicky Hopes is in such shame. She was all right when she was going to scandal me, scandal Bruce, scandal everybody, but she won't put her name on the front of the newspaper or her face. Today, I want to show you an article that's coming. This is a $12.4 million buyout by Abbotsford City on that building. $12.4 million on that buyout. First of all, there was no oversight for that $12.4 million of who owed that money. You can't take city's taxpayers' money and go buy a building. In my opinion, the city of Abbotsford, under Henry Brown, told Ross Siemens to purchase that building, and why? We'll get the city then, and we'll knock down the city hall and build a new city hall. First of all, we need to know who signed that takeover for that building of $12 million between the Abbotsford police and this money being fraud. There's $100 million that should have went to your taxes down. The city of Abbotsford had no business buying that building for $12 million. We don't know who owned it. There was no foreclosure who owned it, who they were bailing out. We don't know who was the realtor, if the realtor was known some of the city or Ross and there was kickbacks. We don't know nothing of it. But $12 million was taken, $12.4 million was taken out of the city's taxpayers' money, unnecessary for a garbage building. It wasn't because they needed extra space. You could see the plan, in my opinion. We'll move the city here, then we'll knock down the city hall and we'll take the new building of the city hall for $500 million. The city mayor, Ross Siemens, stole them tax dollars. Not only did he steal them tax dollars, he knew when he was doing on diverse site, changing the zoning, that was illegal. It's insider trading. He knew the 30-story tower for his boss that ran him in the election, Marcus Dalvis Quantum Projects. He knew that was wrong. And he knew that was wrong through the 30-story tower, Quantum Projects. And they owed him. But $12 million went out of your city bank account without Abbotsford residents knowing. This is the same garbage when Henry snuck in with his wife on Sunday after church to change the zoning on Cooper's Farm so he could get that development for Polygon. How is this all happening? How is this all happening? How can you walk into the city without allowing Abbotsford residents to know? A proper mayor would say, well, the city of Abbotsford's looking at purchasing something, and these are the reasons. Why is this happening? City councillors were asleep with Ross Siemens. Marcus Dalvis ran them. And we knew that. We knew Dave Sadu. We knew Kelly Shahal. We knew Brenda Falk when she was the city Abbotsford first. You can look at them. And we knew Mark Workentine. Mark Workentine's a lawyer. He knows that you're supposed to have foreclosure to the general public before you expropriate funds to buy some garbage glass building. The city's not in the business when your roads are collapsing, your sewer pipelines, building permits are months behind. Oh, well, we're buying that for Nancy Friesen. Nancy Friesen needs a bigger building. We don't. The Abbotsford City is not going to have a new city hall under me. I'll take the Abbotsford new police building and I'll put that as the city hall. But the RCMP have to come into Abbotsford. So let me explain, Abbotsford residents. I hear your complaint. I know Henry Brown's the major driver. You can see how Henry's telling Vicky Hope, keep that. Don't mention nothing about that 12 million. We know Mike DeYoung signs it all through Abbotsford. Nobody's hauling him down. There's no Vicky Hope saying Mike's a month after the election, Mike hasn't hauled him down. This was establishment. But we owe this to Henry's son, Darren Brown, who told. Here was a rich businessman of Abbotsford, went in the city, knew that if I became mayor, had a slate of councils with me to overrun the general public, had the MLA, Mike DeYoung, and Ed Fast to cover it. When people went to complain, there would be nothing. So let me tell you how you address this. As your mayor, I'll address it. But I tell you where this should be addressed now, Abbotsford residents. You need to contact your MLA, Bruce Bamman, Corky Neufeld, and Rianne Gaspard, and demand that they get on top of David Eby and scream out loud of why the $12 million was stolen with no oversight and not telling the general public, the 12.4. And demand full investigations, because when I run for mayor, that's when the RCMP will come in here. By doing it this way, you will have the RCMP on top of Ross. When I come as mayor and these funds were expropriated without you knowing and violating that your taxes could have get done, I'm going to go after Ross's assets. I'm going to go after Jake Siemens' assets if he's tied to Ross Siemens. That's a guarantee. These moves are all being done by Henry Brown, the official community plan. Under the official community plan, you see a new police building. What's next? What's next? Abbotsford, wake up. Are you stupid, Abbotsford? Are you sleeping? Let me tell you what's next. Darren Brown showed me the whole community plan. Build a new city hall. We'll move the city in here and we'll build a new city hall for $500 million. And then I'll get my monies on that and I'll get my hands on that. Henry's the engine. You can see the whole engine. And we cannot see Vicky Hope or Abbotsford News. Don't scandal poor Rossi. Rossi's upstairs. He's just having a breakdown. Oh, he just released a big plan with Abbotsford First. This was a scam behind Abbotsford taxpayers' back. This was an enclosed meeting that should have never been enclosed. If they stole the 12.4 million here, how many other millions they stole? I made it clear when I wanted the forensic audit, I need the RCMP because they've been gouging that city. That's why your taxes are being increased. And this punk, Ross Siemens, that's working at his gas station all day, is telling you that his office is empty. You don't need no office space. He's telling you, well, you know, Abbotsford residents, me, Peter Sparanese, and old Nancy Freeze, and oh, listen to her, she'll really. We're going to up your taxes another 600. Did you see that? They need to foreclose. And Bruce Bamman and the BC Conservatives and the MP need to find out who they bought this building off of. Was this building in dire straits and Ross was doing a favor to buy him out? Who was the realtor broker? How much was there made? Did the realtor broker know anybody in the city? But why did you take city's taxpayers' dollars? Because they believed that city councils and Ross Siemens, well, we're overriding the general public. And look at old Watts. Watts is sitting at his police building all dumbfounded. Was that theft? Me and my boys, was that theft? Oh, look at me, I got a new building. Between the Abbotsford Police Building and this, they stole. I made it clear when I ran for mayor. I made it clear when Henry Brown got in his car and tried to kill me. I made it clear when Henry Brown used Vicky Hopes to block me. I made it clear when Greg Toes tried to bribe me if I shut my mouth, let Ross run in 4 years. This is what it was for. I made it clear when I saw Councillor Mogill say there was smoke, there was fire, and Henry used the task force. I made it clear when I saw them Abbotsford police that thought they were police officers ring my house for 2 months of the election. I made it clear when they sat in front of my job site. I made it clear when they got in their little black cars with their lights, pulled me over and said reckless driving, endanger my driving, all to halt me out of the election. That the mastermind, the engine, the sole man behind it all was Henry Braun. Henry Braun was the mastermind. How did I make it clear? How did I know that? Darren Braun, Henry's son. Darren Braun started shitting his drawers when he knew his dad was using him in front of the city. When his dad used him to Ross Siemens to jack them homes off the mountain. When his dad used him to lobby the bus terminal off of Riverside down on his next dad's property. His dad had an MLA and an MP. But his dad had that private police force. And I knew that private police force was way out of line. I knew them men and women were using them uniforms for intimidation. The men and women were playing in elections. The men and women were smashing people's phones, smashing people's cameras. And you know why, ladies and gentlemen? This is Henry Brown Watts. I need a favor, Watts. Can you and your guys go shut Mr. Pelican's mouth quickly? I don't need that 12 million scam done. That's your tax dollars. The Abbotsford Police is your tax dollars. Get it right. You haven't seen crime increase since I've been running YouTube. You haven't seen Watts' face. You haven't seen Ross Siemens take a picture or nothing. They went into that city, and like the temptation of the devil said, he offered them richness, which weren't them. And they put their hands in that pot to steal that money. These lazy, useless, pathetic men off of Abbotsford hard-working families, people that are trying to get ahead and then inflate and scam. But let me make it clear before I end this podcast. That's your money. That needs yours. You need to know about it. Ross wasn't doing that. Henry Brown was driving this whole ship. So I'm going to ask again, Abbotsford residents, your MLAs are new people here. They're not loyal to Henry Brown. They're not loyal to Ross Siemens. Bruce Bamman ain't loyal to them. Bruce Bamman needs to know that 12 million was stolen without proper due diligence and insight. He knows them city councils are loyal to Ross Siemens, called Abbotsford First. Corky Neufeld's a new MLA here. Henry doesn't control them MLAs no more. And Rianne Gasper. And we knew why Henry was pushing so hard on Mike DeYoung to get him in for this community plan. And Suk Mangel is the new MP here, not Ed Fast, who was loyal to Henry Brown. We don't have to worry about Abbotsford Police coming and telling you to shut your mouth and threaten. We need the RCMP in. You need to push now, ladies and gentlemen, and tell. This is why your taxes are gone. But you need to also start telling Ross Siemens, now we want your bloody resignation, you little garbage trash man. He wasn't there for you. He didn't care about you. He's still listening to Henry. Oh, Henry, did you see Mr. Pelican's podcast? So I want to end today's discussion like this. This is your hard-earned money. You should be more frustrated than me. I ran this mayor election because of what Henry did and what Henry's son showed me. I ran this mayor election because you couldn't drive around town without these spoiled brats of Abbotsford Police believing that we're untouchable. Look at me, snot-nosed garbage trash man that didn't do a day's work in their life and didn't know an honest job. Look at me, we're police officers. I wanted to change that outcome of what I saw. But I would never believe that they would go as far as they have, these garbage trash mans. And now you watch old Watts. Can I retire? He's going to flee out of here. The RCMP need to come into Abbotsford. How we get that faster than my mayor election is we go to your MLAs, you go to your MPs, and you start screaming that $12 million had no oversight, no foreclosure to the Abbotsford residents. It had no vision. Abbotsford wasn't told about it. It was Abbotsford councillors, the same as they did. Oh, did you see the councillors outvote the general community for Cooper's Farm? Did you see them outvote the general community? Oh, Mark Warkentine, he outvoted for the 30-story tower of Marcus. That was a payback. Did you see him on the Mackenzie Bog? Did you see these councillors? They were all in bed together. They saw that bank account and they couldn't stop refusing it. But I encourage you, keep coming forward to me. Keep bringing these issues. I want to be your mayor, and I want to be your mayor for one reason. To go after Ross Siemens and say, you're not going to retire, Ross. You're not going to flee out of here like Mike Sir did. Mike Sir left the Abbotsford Police when he knew he couldn't cover up Henry's hit and run. And he figured if I flee and I run to Surrey, the Surrey Police Department will keep that. I'm adamant about going all the way. And Abbotsford residents know that. And you know why I'm adamant. Because these men were in organized crimes on our families. And I'll end one more time today's podcast, making it clear. The mastermind, the engine, the ringleader, and the gang of all gang members who leads the whole establishment is Henry Brown. Henry Brown set that whole scam up from the community plan, Rob Funk, to Ross Siemens, to everything. And he was scamming this. I'm live, Abbotsford, British Columbia.